the show, you know that I bring a lot of truth to the show, my truth at least. But you know, some of you may like what I have to say, some of you may not, and that's okay. And those of you who don't, you know, I appreciate your watching, and those of you who do, I really appreciate you watching. If you'd like to say something to, you know, oppose my views, if you'd like to say something to agree with me, you know, I'm welcome. We welcome you to bring it on. Your comments are welcome here. You're not going to be shut down or put away here, and that's, you know, that's kind of the way we like to run it. So my name is Paul Lane. I'm the author of The Caregiver's Handbook, a self-help love story. This is a story about my first wife's diagnosis with terminal brain cancer and how we handled that and how we treated that, and after being married at that time 26 years, how we were able to survive that, and you know, and how we were able to close the door on that chapter, and how to move on into, you know, what really life is about, and understanding your place in this world. Anyway, get a copy of this book. Reach out to me at the station. I get a signed copy to you, a hard copy. If you'd like to find it online, you can find it on Amazon. Unfortunately, I don't support Amazon, but my books are on there, and you can find it on Amazon as an ebook. The Caregiver's Handbook, a self-help love story. Guys, just a couple of administrative things I want to make sure and talk about. I did not bring my glasses, so I'm going to have to squint a little, but here we go. If you are thinking that now is a good time to switch to Encore Bank, you are not alone. With the recent significant bank acquisition in Colorado, many businesses are finding themselves reassigned, redirected, or simply unsure of what's next. Encore Bank is a privately held, locally focused bank known for its concierge level services for business like yours. In a time of big bank changes, Encore Bank remains focused on what matters most: client relationships. Reach out to the Colorado team to learn how Encore Bank can support your business goals. Call this number, 303-429-0804. That is 303-429-0804. Tell them you heard about it on KUHS The Stream. Guys, as you know, I do like to put recommendations for good reads, and I've talked about these two books before, but man, I cannot stress how important and wonderful and valuable these books are. And the first one is, this book was a life changer for me, and I'll tell you why. A Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael P. Newton. I don't even know where that P came from, but Michael Newton. This is a book about a guy who did past life regression therapy. Past life regression therapy is when you go back in time to your childhood, and he actually did that kind of therapy with people to help them overcome trauma and, you know, from things that they had in their childhood. But what he decided to do one day was go back in time even further, to a time before you were born. And he discovered that people of all backgrounds, I'm talking about people who were religious, people who are non-religious, people who were atheists, people who were pastors, people who were rabbis, people who were of all different religious and philosophical persuasions, and they had one thing in common: all of them reported having lived before. Now, this was a great interest to me because when I was, well, in 1980, however long that was, 21, I discovered that I had lived a past life. And I've had a past life regression 3 times since then. So I've had 4 past life regression sessions. And I've discovered that I've not only lived once before, not just twice before, but many, many times before. I even had a past life in the 1620s. And I could recall things that I don't even know where they came from. But I'm going to tell you, this book will change the way you think about life, your death, even religion. But I'm telling you, pick up a copy of this book, get it in your collection, read it, because you will not be disappointed, I assure you. This is another book that I talk about all the time, and this book I refer to all the time because this book literally changed my life, the way I view life, the way I view meditation, the way I view manifestation, the way I view my place in the world and the universe at hand, and that is Becoming Supernatural. Dr. Joe Dispenza is a wonderful author, and he puts this in a way that you can grasp, understand, and share with your friends. And you know, I like to educate people, and so I do consider myself an educator, but this is one thing, the one book that I share with every single person who will listen to me, because you know what? the topics and the content in this book is it's mind blowing. I can't think of any other word. Mind blowing, guys. Go to Barnes and Noble, not Amazon. Get a copy of this book. Don't just put it on your shelf. Open it up, read it. Or if you don't like to read, get it on an audiobook. I love the audiobook copy of this book. I've listened to it 2 times and read the book once, and I'll tell you, it is such an exciting and such a, like I say, a mind-blowing book. You've got to get a copy of this book in your collection. Guys, as you know, I am a supporter of CALMA, Colorado Alliance for Latino Mentors and Authors. And if you are interested in becoming an author, if you are interested in becoming a mentor or becoming mentored through the CALMA organization, reach out to CALMA at calmaco.org. CALMACO.org, and let them know that you'd like to become an active member of CALMA. Go to our meet and greets. Go and find out, man, there's a whole batch of new authors coming out this year, and I'm so excited to have them featured on this show. If you would like to sponsor KUHS and you would like to sponsor the Weekend Boost, I need your help. You know, a program like this, if you ever come to our studio, you'll see that this is not a rinky-dink operation. This is the real deal. And there was a lot of investment put into this. And you know what? Henry Archuleta needs your help. We need support. We need financial support here. Not me. I don't get this. I'm volunteer. I'm not asking you for any money from me. But I'm telling you, we need your help. If you'd like to do a private donation to KUHS Denver, reach out to us at the station at 303-255-0567. Make a donation to make the world a better place. Because you know the programming we have here at KUHS is never ending, and it always has something interesting and something that you can learn. So please give your support to KUHS and the things that it stands for, and make yourself known. If you'd like to be a guest on KUHS, I'd love to have you. If you have a topic of importance, if you're an author, if you're a hero, if people see you as a hero, or you know someone you see as a hero that doesn't ever want to come out and say it, bring them on here, man. I want to put them on the show and feature them. You know what? Everybody's looking for a hero. If you can't find one, be one. And if you can't be one, send one to me and I'll feature them. Guys, this is our last show of the year, and I wanted this show to be a special show. And so, you know, we're going to be talking about something that's really on the up and on the very positive, something that's very, very optimistic about 2026 and how you can make 26 the best year of your life. I want to talk about one more thing before I forget. Guys, as you know, I have a practice where I do frequency administration. I have many, many tools that I use, and I'm getting results. I have my wife's cousin who was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer or kidney cancer 5 years ago and was given 6 months to live. I talked to him on the phone day before yesterday. And the day he was diagnosed, he started on my protocols. He uses my terahertz blower almost every day. I have him on soursop, and I've had him on other protocols. And you know something? I ain't saying I'm a doctor, and I'm not saying I treat, cure, or diagnose, but I will tell you this. Tony Ruby's still alive. He's still doing well. He's still surviving what they said would take 6 months to take his life. And I have hope that Tony's going to be alive 5 years more. If you're fighting cancer, if you have a loved one who is fighting cancer and you have no hope, I can't tell you that I'm going to cure anybody, but I can tell you that they will feel better when they come see me. When they go home, they're going to feel a lot more optimistic about life. They're going to feel a lot more hope than they had before. And if all I give you is hope, that's one of the main things it takes to survive. So please, reach out to me. Laneman09 at Comcast.net. That is LANEMAN09 at Comcast.net. Reach out to me and get a copy sent to you. One of the new devices that I've invested in the last couple of years is the Flex Doctor device. This little device, believe it or not, is really heavy. The cost on this is over $2,900. When I got all the accessories, it cost me up in the $3,000 plus range. I have used this on people who have intense pain that nothing else worked on. And I can tell you this, I'll give you an example. Last week, my wife had such intense pain, she couldn't even stand up. She was afraid she was going to wet her pants. I mean, I'm telling you, she was in pain. Nothing helped. We used all of our creams, I used all of my devices, and she was still in pain. I put this on her for 15 minutes, and she's walking around pain-free today. Her pain was in her lower back. I've used this for my knee pain. This is actually why I bought it, because I was approved for knee replacement in both knees, ACL, MCL, and meniscus 5 years ago as well. And I'm walking around without a limp now. I don't use my cane anymore. And this is one of the devices I've used. So please reach out to me. Come for a session. I do also 16-hour retreats, and I can tell you I'm waiting for some letters of recommendation from some of my past clients, and I'm very optimistic that you're going to like what you hear or like what you experience when you come and visit me. I also do house calls, so if you need someone, if you're not mobile, you need me to go to your house, my wife and I can go out and we can spend some time with you, and I can assure you you're going to feel better. So what's new and what's going to be new for 2026? Oh, got to talk about my shirt. Look at here. I have a very hard time pronouncing these words, but I'm going to tell you. This is Emiliano Zapata. He is coined with saying the phrase, "It is better to die on one's feet than to live on one's knees." We are at a time of great trial. And now is the time when we must stand up and make our voices heard. Otherwise, we're going to get run over and left behind. This is the time for you to make the decision to stand on your feet and make that stand. Make your voice heard. Because no one can make a difference if it's not you. If you can't find a hero, then you are stuck with being one. You may not like it, but you know what? It may be your only option. 2026 is coming. It's just a few days away. The shortest day, the longest night of the year is just going to be here in a few days on Tuesday night. And spring's going to be on its way. And many people are going to end 2026 the same way they did 2025, sad, lonely, and broke. But I am here to tell you that there is hope. I'm here to tell you that this is a great time for you to look up. This is a great time to look forward. This is a great time for you to get in touch with that inner you, that sleeping giant. Awaken that sleeping giant. Today's the day. I'm going to introduce you to some principles. I'm going to introduce you to some stories. I've told some of these on my shows before, but today's the day that I'm going to ask you to stretch yourself a little more. And what does that mean? I've been to seminars before where the host says, everybody reach your hands up as high as you can. And the whole audience reaches up as high as they can. And then he says, okay, as high as you can, as high as you can. And then he says, now, reach up just a little higher. And every single person in the audience goes. We always think we're trying as hard as we can. We think we're doing the best we can. And the fact is that we never are doing the best we can. We can always do a little more. Did you ever hear the story of the college professor that brought up a jar of golf balls? And he said, is it full? And everyone said, yeah, it looks pretty full. And then he took a bunch of little small marbles and he put them in and he poured and poured and poured and poured a whole jar in there. And it looked like it was really full. And he asked, is it full now? And the whole class said, yes, it's full. And then he poured sand in there. And the sand filled every crack, every crevice. There was not a spot in there empty. And he said, is it full now? And they said, yes, surely it's full now. And then he poured a pitcher of water into the jar. There's always more inside of you. There's always something better. There's always something bigger. And if you are thinking that you are at the max as far as you can go, reach a little higher. Ask of yourself, is this the best I can do? You know, I'm not a fan of Henry Kissinger, but Henry Kissinger was famous for when a speechwriter would come to him and say, this is, you know, here's my speech, here I have it for you. He would always look at it and hand it back to them. And he says, is that the best you can do? And they would always return with a new and improved speech. Is this the best you can do? I'm going to ask you to stretch yourself in 2026. I'm going to ask you to reach heights you've never reached before. And you know, some of you will. Some of you will. Someone out there will start a book this year. Someone out there will start an organization this year. Someone out there will save a life this year. Someone out there will get a new wardrobe this year. Someone out there will end a bad marriage this year. Or someone out there will repair the damage in that marriage this year. But all of the things that I'm talking about come down to one simple thing, and that is the choices you make in this life. I am asking you to seek that sleeping giant that rests within you, because she or he is there. Like the genie in the lamp saying, "What is it you ask?" There were two boys one time. They wanted to make a fool of the wise man in their village. And they thought and they thought and they thought, and they said, "I know, let's do this. Let's catch a bird, and we'll gather the whole village, and we'll call the wise man out. And when he comes out, we'll ask him, 'Is it a bird? What is in my hand?' And of course he'd say, 'It's a bird.' And if he says, 'Is it a dead bird? Or is it a live bird?' And if they said it's a dead bird, they would let it go. And if he said it's a live bird, they would smash it in their hand. He couldn't win. So they went out and they went and found this wise man, and they went and found a bird, and they gathered the whole village, and they came in front of the wise man's house, and they said, 'Wise man, what am I holding?' And he smiled and he said, 'My son, you hold a bird.' And they said, 'But is it a live bird? Or is it a dead bird?' And the man smiled and he looked at them, and he looked the boy in the eye, and he said, 'My son, it is as you wish.'" How you handle tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year is entirely up to you. There's a tree in California, and this tree is so massive, that if you were to reach around the base of this tree, it would take 30 men, arm to arm, to reach around this tree. This tree is so big, they named it General Sherman. You've probably heard about it. Before one branch ever leaves this tree, it's over 12 stories in the air. If you were to cut this tree down, you could build 40 5-room apartments. And this tree started as a seed that was 1/1000th of an ounce. And you are God's greatest creation. What is in you? Who is holding you back? Could it be the person you see in the mirror? An enemy I had, whose face I stoutly strove to know, for hard he dogged my steps unseen wherever I did go. One night I seized and I held him fast, and from the vial did draw. I looked upon his face at last, and lo, myself I saw. The person who looks back at you in the mirror is the only person that you need to satisfy, is the only person that can convince you that you are a shero, a hero, that you are great. You know, I say it all the time, and I'll say it again. The difference between those who accomplish greatness and those who stand in awe of them is slight. It's the slight edge. Now, I don't know what the purse is at the Kentucky Derby. I didn't take time to look it up. It's not really important how much it is, but I can tell you this. The difference between the first place and the second place winner in the Kentucky Derby sometimes is so close that it takes a photo finish. I'm not asking you to do everything 100% better. Don't do 100 things 100% better. Do 100 things 1% better. Instead of doing one thing 100% better, do 100 things 1% better. It's called the slight edge. It doesn't take much to go from the person who looks at greatness to the person who accomplishes greatness. It's slight. You are great, but you just haven't found it yet. Some of you have been finding your greatness. I feature you on the show all the time. And some of you are sitting on your palms waiting for that hero to show up. Go to your bathroom and look in the mirror. She's looking right back at you, man. If you were to take a chunk of metal, you could sell it for about $2 or $3. But if you took that chunk of metal and you melted it down and you made horseshoes out of it, the value of that $2 or $3 chunk of steel increases to a value of about $50 to $75 when you made horseshoes out of it. But if you were to melt that chunk of steel down again and you were to make it into paper clips, the value increases to $3,000 to $5,000 for the same chunk of steel. But if you were to take that same chunk of steel and melt it down again and make it into springs for watches, the value of that $3 chunk of steel now goes up to $150,000 to $200,000 for the same chunk of steel. Awaken the sleeping giant, my friends. He is you. She is you. And she's waiting to be awakened. Rub that lamp called you and say, I have what it takes. Today, I am talking about a book that I discovered many years ago, back in the 1990s, in fact. Brian Tracy is not around anymore as far as I know, but Brian Tracy was one of my favorite motivational speakers and authors back in the days of cassettes. I used to go and rent his cassette tape backs all the time, and I listened to them over and over and over again. This book is one of the most life-changing books I've ever seen. I just want to show you, just if you go through this book, you know, you all know, if you know me, you know I'm a highlighter. I don't know if you can see him from back there, but this book was highlighted and devoured from page 1 to the very last page. There were so many topics of discussion in here, topics of learning. And you know, it was so funny because I pulled this book out and I was, you know, just going over things that I wanted to talk about in today's show. And I came across some things that I learned in this book almost, 30 years ago. And one of them was this, and this is how I end my days, and I've been ending my days for this for many, many years. I pulled this out. I wrote it on the bookmark. I got this at the tattered cover, by the way, because I don't shop at Amazon. I believe something wonderful is going to happen to me today. You know, when you start your day off with the words, I believe something wonderful is going to happen to me today, it's like you walk outside and you're looking for that present. You're looking for a present to unwrap. You're looking for something good to happen because you know what? You get what you expect. When you set your expectations high, wonderful things are going to happen for you. When you set your expectations low, you're going to get exactly what you expect. Disappointment. You're going to get stuck behind everyone at the line. You're going to be in the wrong lane on the highway. You're going to have athlete's foot. You're going to have a hurt back. You're going to have all kinds of problems that you never might have happened had you changed that one little thing inside you called your attitude. You are in control of this attitude. You are the only person who can say, hey, I want to make a change. I want to do something bigger and better. I want to rise higher. Awaken the sleeping giant. This book is exactly what they talk about, maximum achievement. There are so many things, laws of relationships, laws of the universe. This is an interesting thing I found here yesterday. I didn't even realize this, but my first wife, Rita, gave me this book back in 1997. To my loving husband, whose passion and enthusiasm for life is a joy and pleasure in sharing our lives together. Love, Rita. July 6, 1997. I didn't even know that, remember that she had given me this book as a gift, but I'm going to tell you, it's been on my shelf and it's there. I refer to it from time to time, and there's so many things in here that I think were so great. Simple equations, simple things that you can do to make your life a little bit better. Circumstances do not make the man, they merely reveal him to himself. That was a hard statement for me to read. You can tell best what you're made of by watching the way you behave when you are under pressure. Your real self comes out, for better or worse. Guys, psychiatrists say that we are actually three different people. Did you know that? The person we think we are, the person other people think we are, and the person we really are. That's one of the reasons that I love the book by Dr. Joe Dispenza so much, Becoming Supernatural, because that is discovering who you really are. When you look in the mirror and you see a person who is downtrodden, you're going to walk out into the world downtrodden. But when you look at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, I have what it takes, you're going to walk out and those letters, I have what it takes, are going to be 10 foot tall. I have what it takes. I have what it takes to make the world a better place. I have what it takes to make my life better. I have what it takes to change things that I'm not satisfied with. So how can you make 2025 the year of your dreams? With a piece of paper. With a piece of paper. A Harvard study, and I learned this back in the 1980s, by the way. A Harvard study was done on people who reached high levels of success versus people who had a mediocre life. And they found that there was a real simple but major difference in them. Those who achieved greatness started out with a list. You could call it a list of everything you've ever wanted. You could call it whatever you want, but really what it was they made a dream list. And that's what I'm going to ask you today. And I'm going to tell you about 3 out of 100 of you. We got about 4,400 people watching right now, 4,000 people. Thank you for joining us. But get out a notebook and a pencil or a pen. And at the top of that, write these words. Everything I've ever wanted. And then write to know, to learn, places I want to go, things I want to become, and then start filling it out. Most adults can only fill out 3 or 4 or 5 things. Most adults, because what happens is our dreams diminish over time and our vision diminishes. When we're the kid, we can become a doctor, we can be an astronaut, we can be a lawyer and a mom. But as we grow, our vision and our perspective narrows, like we have macular degeneration of our life. And as we grow, the things that were likely become possible, then they become unlikely, and then they become pipe dreams, and then they become impossible, and our vision is skewed by our perception of life. So I'm going to ask you to do this. And this is something that's an ongoing thing, and it should never have an end, and it should never have a stop. You know, there was a guy named John Goddard, and he learned about this as a young boy. And he wrote down 100 things that he wanted to do, be, learn, or go. And John Goddard started out on that. First, he started out with things like becoming an Eagle Scout. He became one. Milking a rattlesnake. Learning a foreign language. Learn jiu-jitsu. He wanted to travel to every country in the world. He wanted to become wealthy. He wanted to be a millionaire. And by the time John Goddard was 40 years old, he had accomplished almost every single thing on the list. There were a couple of things like going to space and some other things that he hadn't reached. But you know, the thing about it is, if he had not written that list, he wouldn't have accomplished any of those things. If it's not in front of you, it can't be achieved. And so what you got to do is you got to open your eyes and realize that there's greatness inside of you. Guys, if you're just joining us, you are watching KUHS The Stream, and this is the Weekend Boost. I'm your host, Paul Lane, and we're talking about positive things today. We're talking about the most important thing in the world, and that is you. That is you. You know, and so many people out there, I know there's people out there that lack self-love, either through a bad experience or through a bad relationship or just bad luck. You know what? That does not have to be the you that wakes up tomorrow morning. Imagine if you woke up tomorrow morning and said, I'm the luckiest girl I know. I'm the luckiest guy I know. Everything goes my way. Man, I'm telling you, my wife gets tired of hearing it, but every single day she hears me say, I'm the luckiest guy I know. All the lights are always green. There's always an open parking spot for me, and everything goes my way. Money finds its way into my pocket all the time because I'm the luckiest guy I know. And guess what happens? I come to the street and it's wide open. I get to the intersection and the light turns green. I pulled up yesterday because we don't shop at Kroger stores. We try to shop at the Mexicano markets in Denver. We go to Save-A-Lot. We go to El Mercado. We keep our money in the Latino community because the Latino community is already getting put down, pushed around, kicked in the teeth. And you know what? We support the Latino community. But you know what we did? I told my wife 6 blocks away, I said, ooh, someone's getting ready to come out. They're going to save me a parking spot. I should have taken a video of this, man, because we pulled in, and there was a guy with his brake lights on right in the front of the store. And as soon as I pulled in, that guy backed out, man. Parked right in the front spot because I expected it. You don't get out of life what you want. You get out of life what you expect. You ever heard the term, what did you expect? When things go wrong, you need to change your expectations. I don't know if I've ever told you the story about the school teacher. The principal called her in and says, you know, we're going to be doing something special for you this year because you're a wonderful teacher. We have given you the smartest kids in the whole school. And each of these kids has super high IQs. And each one of these kids is going to be productive. They're going to be successful. They're going to get high grades. They're going to be have great attendance. And so that teacher went in and looked at all these kids and said, man, these are bright kids. And all through that school year, man, these kids all excelled. All of them were at the next grade reading level. All of them were just doing wonderful with math, with social studies, with every study in their curriculum. They excelled. They were great attitude. They were high attendance. And at the end of the year, the principal called that teacher in and said, you know, I have to share something with you. We were not giving you the brightest kids in the school at all. And what we told you was their IQs was not actually their IQs at all, but their locker numbers. Guess what? You get what you expect. If you're a parent and you expect your kids to be monsters, get ready for the monsters ball. If you were a parent, you know, When my kids used to do bad things, I used to say, and I learned this from someone, I don't even know where, it's been so many years. I never used to say, you're a bad kid. I would say, I expect better than that from you. When my daughter brought home a report card with C's on it, I said, bring your report card over here. Show it to me where there's a legend in there and it talks about what these grades mean. What does a C mean? It means average. And I would tell I told my daughter, I expect better than that from you. You're not average. And you know something? I might have gone too far because, man, my daughter would take a college course, and if she got a B in it, she would take the course again. Because she realized the greatness that was in her was only in her own hands. My daughter today is a GS-15 with the federal government. My daughter is integral in the corporation she works for, the organization she works for. My daughter is making change in the world. And I'd like to take a little credit for it, but man, she took that by the reins and she said, I am not mediocre. I am not average. I am great. There's greatness in me. And she expects greatness in herself. My other daughter's getting ready to get her master's degree because she expects greatness from herself. And all I can do is sit back and say, wow. What do you expect from yourself? What are you going to do with next year? Is it going to be great? Is it going to be average? Are you going to fall on your face? Guess what? We all do at some time or another. We all fall on our faces. How we face it, how we accept it, how we recover from it is entirely in our own hands, and you are in control of all of that. So, getting back to this list. So in a notebook, you should have a paper that says everything I've ever wanted to know, to be, to have, to go, to learn. And you should start filling that out today. Have you started filling it out yet? If you would like to reach out to me at the station and make a comment about it, I can see your comments on the Facebook app right here. But that's step one. That's an outline for your life. And you know, those of us who have learned that from a very young age realize that this is very real, very true, and there's no limits to what we can become or do. Become or do. No limit. Now, I want you to consider next year. And how can you make next year great? How can you awaken a sleeping giant in you for next year? And it's very simple. It's just getting that same sheet, well, that same document, except turn the page and go to a blank page and write in there everything that I want in 2026. I do this every year at the end of the year. Today when I go home, my wife, she's not real big on writing things down, but she hasn't grasped the whole concept of, or the power of writing things down. Because see, when you write something down, eventually it sticks in your head. And when it sticks in your head, it goes to your heart. And what the heart wants, the heart gets. The heart wants what the heart wants, and if the heart wants success, the heart's going to get success. Now, what we're going to do now is write a list of everything I want in 2026. Now, for a lot of people, this is really difficult because people don't really understand how to attain goals. Most people were never taught these things. You know, just like financial literacy. I was never taught financial literacy because my mom was not financially literate. I could never give something I didn't have. But I have learned some financial literacy in my old age, and you know, I retired, and I'm doing okay. I can do much better, and in 2026, I think we want to do better. I want to use the techniques and the equipment that I've used and I've learned and I've helped people with, and I want to spread this good news, man. I want to spread my gifts to other people. That's why I reach out to you and say, reach out to me and come over and get a session. Come and spend an hour with me. I guarantee you 100%, you will either look better, you will feel better, or you will have a better sense of well-being when you leave me or when I leave you. I guarantee it. or your money back. So, how do I decide what to write? How, I know a lot of you are probably having a mental block right now, but here's how you do this. You break your life into 6 areas. Get your notebook out, please. Take notes of this. Your life, it can be broken down into 6 areas. If you looked at a pie chart and broke it into 6 equal pie slices, there are 6 areas in your life where you would want to focus or set goals. Especially if you're kind of drawing a blank. So, the number, and these are in no particular order, but the first one is spiritual. What kind of spiritual goals do you have? If you like to read the Bible, then write goals of how you want to write the Bible. If you like to meditate, write goals of how long you want to meditate every day. Do you want to meditate twice a day? Make that a goal. Put that on your list. Do you want to read so many scriptures a day? Write that out. If being spiritual for you is taking walks around the lake, how many times are you going to walk around the lake every week? Are you going to take a 10-minute walk, a 20-minute walk? Specific things make specific results. For example, and I don't want to go bounce around too much, but let's say you want a car. You're writing on your goal, I want a new car this year. Guess what your mind says? New car. Doesn't see what a new car is. It only says new car. But imagine if you were to feed into your mind this. I want a baby blue 1968 Camaro with baby moons on it and big fat tires on it. I wanted to have blue and white interior. I wanted to have a cool looking steering wheel, and describe that. I wanted to have this specific grill on it. I wanted to have this motor in it. I want every detail to be in my mind, because your mind can't focus if you don't give it something to focus on. If you want to lose weight, you don't just write, I want to lose weight, right? I want to lose 25 pounds. I want to be 185 pounds. I reached it once this year for about a week. But I'm going to make it this next year. I'm going to be 185 pounds by 1 year from now. When we come on this show and do the last show of the year, I'll be 185 pounds or less. I will be. Because I'm writing it down. So we have our spiritual. Then we have our financial goals. When you set financial goals, maybe you're still working and you want to make some contribution to your 401k. Maybe your financial goal is you want to have so much money that you want to retire. You know what? I set a goal that I wanted to have so much money in my 401k, and I knew that when I reached that, I was going to be around 59 and a half, and I knew that I could cash in my 401k at that time. I took my 401k from the goals that I had written the year before, and I invested in a new kitchen in my basement. I remodeled it. I put a kitchen in there. I tiled the whole basement, and I rented it out. And guess what? That was my retirement. That was the retirement plan that I had. And you know something? 5 years later, well, actually, it's coming on, 6 years, 7 years now that I've been retired. But 6 years I've had this apartment. And every month, on the first of the month, there's the cash that I gather because I visualized it. So financial. Family. You know, one of the worst or one of the weakest places in our lives where we don't look to set goals is with our family. Schedule time with your children. Schedule time with your parents. Schedule time with your spouse. Schedule time. Quality time. Where you listen to those you love. Where you take vacations with those who you love. Where you go spend the night at an Airbnb or a Vrbo or whatever. Go get a hotel one night. Go rent a car sometime. Man, I can't even tell you how cool that is. How much fun that is to do. Career. You know, nothing's worse than being in, well, there are, but it's very bad when you're in a job you hate and you go there every week. Or if you're in a job that you don't like, but you want to get ahead, but you just haven't taken the time to prepare yourself for that success, for that furtherance of your career. Make goals in your career. Do you want to be the supervisor? Do you want to get a new job? Do you want to make yourself better if you own your own business? Do you want to get more clients? Set goals in that area. Educational. You know, I don't know why people think that when we get out of high school we stop learning. But you know what? When does a tree stop growing? The answer is never, until it dies. But you're the greatest creation there is. When did you stop growing? You know, when you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rotten. Set goals in your career. Set goals. Educational. Man, you guys, I got so many dang books now. I don't have any more bookshelf space. I got books after books. I got books I haven't read, books, and I just keep collecting them because you know something? I know this. I never want this thing to stop growing. I never want this thing to stop growing either. But it's a funny thing that when you start learning, all of the areas of your life start improving. All of the things that you want to do. Keep growing. Keep setting educational goals. You know, I was talking to my daughter. She's coming in from New Mexico in a couple of days, and she's the one that's getting ready to get her master's degree. She's just a couple of sessions short. She continually sets goals for her education, sets goals for her career, sets goals with her family, sets goals with her physical health. Man, she set a goal to lose so much weight, and the last time I saw her, she looked 10 years younger because she lost so much weight. She looks great, she feels great, and it's because she made a decision that that's who she wants to be. Physical. I talked about I want to be 185 pounds, and you know most people don't like to share that, but I want physical goals. I want to take time to go for walks with my and see, this is kind of combining them. You can, you know, like I'm going to set a goal with my wife and my dog, and we want to go for walks at the lake near our house, and we want to go and enjoy and explore. We want to go and spend more time fishing. We want to do things that are family things. I want to do more exercises. My wife and I want to start doing Tai Chi, and we're going to start that next year because we're writing it down. Now, as you go through your life, you're going to discover that all of a sudden doors start opening, people start responding, things start happening. The world lays out in front of you just like a flower blooming. And guess what? You do. Just like going to a fresh apple tree, you go start picking those apples. You know something? I was going to bring an apple in today. I just ran out of time. But I was going to cut an apple open and I was going to pull out a seed. And I was going to count the seeds and say, yeah, you know, this apple has 8 seeds, or this apple has 10 seeds. Anybody can count the seeds in an apple. But I was going to pick up one seed and hold it up for you and ask you this: how many apples are in this seed? Anybody can count the apples, the seeds in an apple. Nobody can count the apples in a seed. How many apples are in you? How many great things are before you? And how many great things are going to be left behind if you don't make the decision to reach out, attain, grab, and possess, and accomplish those things? You know, one of the things I made a goal for last year was to play the kalimba. And I went and bought one. And I made a lot of bad noise with it for a long time, and honestly, I still don't play any real, well, no, I play a few songs, but I invent songs. And I started playing this thing, and man, I'm telling you, this thing is so soothing. And I'm not perfect at it yet. Wow. Pretty soon I'm going to be playing like Maurice White. Happy birthday to Maurice White. He had a birthday a couple of days ago. But you know something? Hi there, what's your name? Giselle. Giselle? This is Giselle. This is Paul Chavez's granddaughter.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Paul. How are you? How old are you?
6.
6? You know something? Today we're talking about becoming, as you get older, learning about life, learning about things that are important. And you know something? I'm going to share this with you. I love sharing this with kids. When you go home, Giselle, get yourself a piece of paper and write down everything you ever dreamed of. Everything. You know something? I shared this with my little girls. Now my daughter's now 41 years old, but my other one was 37. But you know something? They write down every year all the things they want to do in that year, and you know something? They get them. It's like you have a magic lamp and you say, "Ooh, I want a new bike," and those things happen. It's really amazing how when you write things down, they go in your heart and then they go in your head. And when they come in your head, they go back to your heart, and all of a sudden things start happening for you. It's incredible. Did you come to watch your grandpa on the show today?
Say it. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Are you going to be talking on the show with your grandpa today?
Absolutely.
Right on. Guys, I know you all follow Mr. International, and every Saturday he comes on here and he entertains you. And let me tell you, he doesn't just put music on, he puts his heart into this. Give your attention and your time to KUHS, the stream, to make the world a better place. And you know something? This is our future right here. This little girl right here, she's going to grow up and become a beautiful woman. Make wonderful things happen in the world, aren't you? What grade are you in? First? All right. Getting ready for the second half of the year, huh? Are you on winter break? All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Come on, Giselle.
Okay.
Guys, I cannot tell you how easy it is for you to reach your furthest and wildest dreams. I can't tell you that it's going to be easy either. But I can tell you this, without any effort at all, there is no change. There's no upgrade. There's no improvement. There's no success. All you do is like you're on a boat in the lake without a motor and without oars. You're drifting aimlessly. Guys, you really do have control. 2026, for some people, looks grim. For other people, it looks hopeful. For some people, it looks amazing. Those people are the ones who see what they want, who know what they want, who write down what they want, where they want to go, what they want to learn, what they want to become. Because until you look from here to there, you'll never get there. I'm going to tell you one more story, then I'm going to finish up. There was 3 boys, and they came to this frozen field, all covered in fresh snow. And they said, let's have a contest to see who can walk the straightest line across this field. The first boy walked and he 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 walked, and when he got all the way across, his path was like a great big arc. Well, the second boy saw what he had done, so he took a few steps, looked back, took a few steps, looked back, took a few steps, looked back, all the way across the lake. And when he got across, he looked and he had a zigzag trail worse than the first guy. So that third guy, he looked out across that field and he saw a house. And behind that house was a mountain. And behind that mountain he could see the sun just coming up. And he said, if I keep that house in line with that mountain, in line with the sun, I think I could walk a straight line. And he walked and he walked and he walked, and when he got across, he looked back at his path and it was a perfect straight line. When it comes to your life, consider that tomorrow is the day, and the next day after that, and the next week, and the next month, and all of those are coming. Life and success is a series of small successes. When you practice your life one day at a time and see that tomorrow's coming, I'm going to be ready, guess what's going to happen? The world is going to lay down before you. Doors are going to get opened. People are going to say, how can I help you? You ever heard the most powerful phrase in the English language? I teach this to people all the time. I learned it from a book called How I Raised Myself from Failure to Selling in Sales. Failure to Success in Sales. I've got a problem. I wonder if you could help me out. Or just shorten it. I wonder if you could help me out. Or I need your help. Guess what? People have an innate need to be of help to others. And if you use this sentence, this phrase, especially on yourself, you will accomplish greatness that you never imagined. Doors are opening. Opportunities are laying themselves out for you. If you expect them, if you look for them, if you write them down and let them affect your heart and your mind and let them flow. Guys, I'm just so honored to be able to be here. I'm so thankful that I have Mr. Jefe, Henry Archuleta, who makes all of this possible. And again, please reach out. Become a sponsor of KUHS. Whether it's a small sponsor or a big sponsor, reach out to KUHS. Henry Archuleta is a hero, man. He's the hero that one of the heroes I truly look up to. What he does to make the world better never ends. And you know something? I see heroes in you. Thank you for following. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this. Please go back and watch the show. Think about the things we've talked about today and let them be a major factor in improving your life and making this world a better place.